And now, Andrew Does Everything proudly presents Cinderella, based on the story of Cinderella. Once upon a time, there lived a young girl named Cinderella. Cinderella had 3 ugly, mean stepsisters named Olive, Nina, and Esme. Olive, Nina, and Esme made Cinderella do all the chores. "Sweep the floors, wash the dishes," said Olive, Nina, and Esme. One day, the king of Onlyville's messenger said, hear ye, the king of Onlyville is going to throw a ball. And whoever has the most beautiful gown and crown shall marry his son, Prince Singling. But Cinderella is not welcome. Her stepsisters are. Olive said, he's going to marry me. Nina said, no way, Olive. He's going to marry me. Esme said, both of you are wrong. He's going to marry me. Later, Cinderella is so sad that she cannot go to the ball and marry Prince Singling. Suddenly, her fairy godmother arrives and asks Cinderella what is wrong. Why are you crying, Cinderella? She asks. Cinderella responds, I wanted her to go to the ball and marry Prince Singling, but I'm not welcome. The fairy godmother waved her wand and chanted the magic word, Winnity, Waterity, one! And then, Cinderella's chores are all done. But the fairy godmother is not done yet. She said, Cinderella, go fetch me a good old pumpkin. Luckily, Cinderella has one pumpkin. The fairy godmother waved her magic wand and chanted the magic word, Winnity, Waterity, one! Again, and to turn Cinderella's do-rag and clothes into a gown. I've never seen such a wonderful gown. I get a load of my glass slippers, and then the pumpkin into a carriage drawn by 2 strong horses. The fairy godmother said, have fun, Cinderella, but I will warn you, return home before midnight, or the spell will be broken. Cinderella accepted the warning. Meanwhile, at the ball, Prince Singling was wondering who he should marry. Olive, Nina, and Esme said all together, he's walking towards me. But he's not walking towards any of them. He's walking towards Cinderella. Cinderella and Prince Singling dance happily together. But later, Cinderella realized it's almost midnight. So she scurried out of the ball, and she was running so fast that she lost one of her glass slippers. Prince Singling was so worried that he might never see Cinderella again. So he traveled around Onlyville to find her and brought the glass slipper with him. He knocked on the door of the house where her Cinderella and her stepsisters lived. He said, ladies, I have a favor to ask. Can any of you try this glass slipper? Olive is first, but her foot is too big. Nina is next, but her foot is too small. Esme is last, but her foot didn't fit either. Suddenly, Prince Singling noticed Cinderella singing. Cinderella said. Prince Singling, is that you? Prince Singling said, of course it's me. Cinderella gets so excited because she's having to have her Prince Singling back. And they lived happily ever after. The end. I hope you enjoyed this story before bed enters doors. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and share to my video. Take care. Bye and good night, everybody. And now, Andrew Does Everything proudly presents Cinderella. It is based on the story of Cinderella. What? Let's tell you the story, shall we? Once upon a time, there lived a young girl named Cinderella. Cinderella had 4 ugly, mean stepsisters named Fiona, Ophelia, Ursula, and Ramona. Fiona, Ophelia, Ursula, and Ramona made Cinderella do all the chores. Sweep the floors. Wash the dishes. Do it all. Said Fiona, Ophelia, Ursula, and Ramona all together. One day, the king of Quadrillion Hand's messengers said, Hear ye, hear ye! The king of Quadrillion Hand is going to throw a ball, and whoever has the most beautiful gown and crown shall marry his son, Prince Forting. But Cinderella is not welcome. Her stepsisters are. He's going to marry me, said Fiona. Ophelia said, No way, Fiona! He's going to marry me. Ursula said, Both of you are wrong! He's going to marry me. Ramona said, All 3 of you are wrong! He's going to marry me. Later, Cinderella is so sad because she can't go to the ball and marry Prince 14, while her fairy godmother asks her what's wrong by saying, Why are you crying, Cinderella? Cinderella responds, I got lots of chores to be done. I can't go to the ball and marry Prince 14. Cinderella's fairy godmother said, I can help with a bit of magic. Cinderella's fairy godmother chants the magic words. Quiddity, quaddity, quaddity, quoo! And waves her magic wand. Because of that, all of Cinderella's chores are all done. But Cinderella's fairy godmother is not done yet. She said, Cinderella, go fetch me a pumpkin. Luckily, Cinderella has 4 pumpkins. Cinderella's fairy godmother said, and then chants the magic words. Quiddity, quaddity, quaddity, quoo, and waves her magic wand to turn the 4 pumpkins into a handsome coach drawn by 8 strong horses. And then, Cinderella's clothes into a gathered crowd. Cinderella said, I've never seen such a quadtastic gown. And get a lot of my glass slippers, her fairy godmother said. Have fun, mighty Cinderella. But I would warn you, return home before midnight, or the spell will be broken, and everything will turn back to the way it was before. Cinderella accepted the warning. Meanwhile, at the ball, Prince Fortune was wondering who he should marry. Fiona, Ophelia, Ursula, and Ramona said all together, He's walking towards me! But he's not walking towards any of them. He's walking towards Cinderella. Cinderella and Prince 14 dance happily together. But later, Cinderella realizes it's midnight, so she scurried out of the ball. And she was running so fast that she lost both her glass slippers. Prince 14 was so worried that he might never see Cinderella again. So he traveled all around Quadrivium to find her. I brought the 2 tiny glass slippers with him. He knocked on the door of the home where Cinderella and her stepsisters live, but instead of Cinderella, he finds Fiona, Ophelia, Ursula, and Ramona. He then said, "Ladies, I have a favor to ask. Can anyone try on these glass slippers? Fiona is first, but her feet are too big." Ophelia said, "But her feet are too small." Ursula and Ramona did the same thing, but their feet don't fit either. Suddenly, Prince 14 notices Cinderella's sweet singing. "The glass slippers fit!" Cinderella gets so excited because she's happy to have her Prince 14 back. And they both lived happily ever after. The end. I hope you enjoyed this story. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share on Andrew Does Everything. And if you want to see some sequels, tell your friends about it. And then, take care of your stories. Bye. And now, Andrew Does Everything proudly presents Cinderella. It is based on the story of Cinderella. Once upon a time, there lived a young girl named Cinderella. Cinderella had 3 ugly, mean stepsisters named Tina, Elena, and Nina. Tina, Elena, and Nina made Cinderella do all the chores. "Sweep the floors, wash the dishes, do it all," said Tina, Elena, and Nina all together. One day, the king of the Cobbleburg's messengers said, Hear ye! The king of the Cobbleburg is going to throw a ball, and whoever has the most beautiful gown and crown shall marry his son, Prince Cobbling." But Cinderella is not welcome. Her stepsisters are. Tina said, "He's going to marry me." Elena said, "No way, Tina! He's going to marry me." Nina said, "Both of you are wrong! He's going to marry me." Later, Cinderella is so sad doing her chores that she can't go to the ball and marry Prince Cobbling, while her fairy godmother asks her what's wrong by saying, "Why are you crying, Cinderella?" Cinderella responds, "I have lots of chores to be done, but I can't go to the ball and marry Prince Cobbling." Cinderella's fairy godmother said, "I can help with a bit of magic." So she chants the magic words, "Tintity tantity tantity too," and waves her magic wand. Because of that, Cinderella's chores are all done, but her fairy godmother is not done yet. She said, "Cinderella, go fetch me a pumpkin." Luckily, Cinderella has 10 pumpkins. Cinderella's fairy godmother chants the magic words, "Tintity tantity tantity too," and waves her magic wand again to turn the 10 pumpkins into a handsome coach by 20 strong horses, and then Cinderella's were closed into a gown and crown. Cinderella said, "I've never seen such a sensational gown. And get a load of my glass slippers." Cinderella's fairy godmother said, "Have fun, Cinderella, but I would warn you, return home before midnight, or the spell will be broken and everything will change back to the way it was before." Cinderella accepted the warning. Meanwhile, at the ball, Prince Decumling was wondering who he should marry. Tina, Alina, and Nina said all together, "He's walking towards me!" But he's not walking towards any of them. He's walking towards Cinderella. Cinderella and Prince Decumling dance happily together. But later, Cinderella is almost midnight, so she scurried out of the ball, and she was running so fast that she lost both her glass slippers. Prince Decumling was so worried that he might never see Cinderella again. So he traveled all around Decumberland to find her, and brought the 2 tiny glass slippers with him. He knocked on the door of the home of where Cinderella, Tina, Alina, and Nina lived. But instead of Cinderella, he finds Tina, Alina, and Nina. Prince Decumling then said, "Ladies, I have a favor to ask. Can you not find me these 2 glass slippers?" Tina is first, but her foot is too big. Alina is next, but her foot is too small. Nina is last, but her foot isn't the right size either. Suddenly, Prince Decumling noticed Cinderella's sweet singing. Cinderella then gets so excited because she's happy to have Prince Decumling back, and Prince Decumling doesn't have to put the 2 glass slippers back on her feet because they're so uncomfortable. And now they've both lived happily ever after. The end. Andrew's Doers. If you want to see some sequels, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share on Andrew Does Everything, and buy our merchandise, etc. And, take care. Bye. And now, Andrew Does Everything proudly presents 53rella. It is based on the story of Cinderella with a bit of a plot twist. Let's tell you the story, shall we? Once upon a time, in a faraway land named Tetrahedral, there was a young woman named 53rella. 53rella had 10 ugly, mean, wicked stepsisters named Fatima, Ivana, Fernanda, Tasha, Yadina, Tanya, Hannah, Rosie, Anna, and Emily. All 10 of them constantly made fun of 53rella and made her do all the chores. 53 wench! Sweep the floors, wash the dishes, do it all! We don't have all day! Said the stepsisters all together. One day, the king of Tetrahedral's messenger arrives and says, "Hear ye, hear ye! The king of Tetrahedral is kind, wise, caring, and everything. His Majesty is going to throw a ball, and whoever has the most beautiful gown and crown shall marry his son, Prince Tetrahedral. But 53rella is not invited. Her ugly, mean, wicked stepsisters. They are overjoyed and picked out dresses to wear to the ball. Prince Tetrahedral is going to marry me, said Fatima, the oldest stepsister. No way, Fatima, wrong. He's going to marry me, said Ivana. Both of you are wrong. He's going to marry me. The rest say, all 3 of you are wrong. He's going to marry me. Later, 53rella is so sad about not going to the ball and marrying Prince Tetrahedral. Whatever will I do? She whimpered. 53rella's fairy godmother arrives and comforts her. There now, 53rella. I can help with a bit of magic. Nobody will know it's you. And so she chants the magic words. Surprise, surprise among the shores. Magic wand, do all the chores, and waves her magic wand. And not a minute too soon. 50 Frella's chores are all done. But her fairy godmother says that she's not done yet. She says, 50 Frella, go fetch me a pumpkin and your teeny tiny little friends, the mice. Luckily, 50 Frella has 53 pumpkins and 160 mice. 50 Frella's fairy godmother waves her magic wand again to turn the 50 pumpkins into a handsome coach, the 106 mice into horses, and 50 Frella's rich clothes into a gown and crown. 50 Frella's fairy godmother says, I've never seen such a quadruple-tastic gown! And get it under my glass slippers, fairy godmother. How can I ever thank you enough? And climbs into the coach. 50 Frella's fairy godmother says, well, 50 Frella, you can't, but have fun. And I would warn you, return home before midnight, or the spell will be broken and everything will turn back to normal. And so, 50 Frella accepted the warning. Meanwhile, at the ball, Prince Trey Quadrated Tumbling was wondering who he should marry. Wondering who to marry, Prince Trey Quadrated Tumbling, my son? Asked the king of Trey Quadrated Tumblingham. To which Prince Trey Quadrated Tumbling says, yes, father. Prince Trey Quadrated Tumbling, you're going to marry me, said Fatima, the oldest stepsister. No way, Fatima, wrong. He's going to marry me. Prince Trey Quadrated Tumbling, you're going to marry me, said Ivana. Both of you are wrong. Prince Trey Quadrated Tumbling, you're going to marry me, said Ferdinand. The rest say, all three of you are wrong. Prince Trey Quadrated Tumbling, you're going to marry me. But Prince Trey Quadrated Tumbling angrily denies their request. 50 Frella arrives at the ball just in time. Prince Trey Quadrated Tumbling sees her, walks out to her and says, you must be 50 Frella. May I have please at this dance? 50 Frella responds, yes. 50 Frella and Prince Trey Quadrated Tumbling dance happily together. But later, 50 Frella realizes it's almost midnight. So she scurried out of the ball, and she was running so fast that she lost one of her glass slippers. The next day, the king of Trey Quadrated Tumblingham and Prince Trey Quadrated Tumbling try to find 50 Frella who captured Prince Trey Quadrated Tumbling's heart and brought the glass slipper she lost with them. By the time they arrive at her house, Prince Trey Quadrated Tumbling knocks on the door at the house where 50 Frella and her 10 ugly, mean, wicked stepsisters lived. But instead of 50 Frella, they found her ugly, mean, wicked stepsisters, Fatima to Emily. Prince Trey Quadrated Tumbling then says, ladies, my father, the king, and I have a favor to ask. Can any of you try on this glass slipper? Fatima is first, but her foot is too big. Isabella is next, but her foot is too small. Nonsense! It fits, she said. The rest are the same, but none of their feet are the right size. Suddenly, the king of Trey Quadrated Tumblingham and Prince Trey Quadrated Tumbling noticed 50 Frella singing. Prince Trey Quadrated Tumbling, is that you? She hollered excitedly. He says, of course it's me, I love you, will you marry me? And the glass slipper fits! And so, Prince Trey Quadrated Tumbling and the king of Trey Quadrated Tumblingham and 54 lived happily ever after. The end. I hope you enjoyed this story, Andrew Stewards. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share on Everything, and buy our merchandise at everything.com. And take care. Bye. And now, Andrew Stewards. Andrew Knows Everything proudly presents for the free 500 episode special 35 Cinderella. It is based on the story of Cinderella with a bit of a twist. Let's tell you the story, shall we? Once upon a time, there was a young adult girl named 35 Cinderella. 35 Cinderella had 10 ugly, mean, wicked stepsisters named Tasha, Hilda, Isabella, Ramona, Tanya, Irina, Fiona, Isabella, Verona, and Ella. All of them made fun of 35 Cinderella and made her do all the chores. 35 wench, sweep the floors, wash the dishes, do it all, said the ugly, mean, wicked stepsisters all together. One day, the king of Quintragitellingham's messenger arrives and says, Hear ye, hear ye! The king of Quintragitellingham, his royal majesty, is going to throw a ball, and whoever has the most beautiful gown and crown shall marry his son, Prince Quintragitelling. Can I come? Asks 35 Cinderella, but she's not welcome. Her ugly, mean, wicked stepsisters are. He's going to marry me, said Tasha, the oldest stepsister. But her younger sisters disagree. They even tear 35 Cinderella's best party dress. Later, 35 Cinderella is so sad, distraught, and upset about not going to the ball and marrying Prince Quintragitelling. Suddenly, her fairy godmother arrives and comforts 35 Cinderella. There now, my dear 35 Cinderella. She said, I'll fix everything for you. She then waves her magic wand. Because of that, 35 Cinderella's chores are all done. But her fairy godmother is not done yet, she said. 35 Cinderella, go fetch me a pumpkin and some mice. Luckily, 35 Cinderella has 35 pumpkins and 70 mice. 35 Cinderella's fairy godmother waves her magic wand again to turn the 35 pumpkins into a handsome coach, the 70 mice into horses, and fixes 35 Cinderella's torn dress and makes it bigger and better. 35 Cinderella said, I've never seen such a quinquadratic gown. And get a load of my glass slippers. Fairy godmother, how can I ever thank you enough? And climbed into the coach. 35 Cinderella's fairy godmother said, well, you can't. But have fun, 35 Cinderella. My dear, but I would warn you, return home before midnight, or the spell will be broken and everything will change back to the way it was before. And gave her a clock to tell her what time it is. And so, 35 Cinderella accepts the warning. Meanwhile, at the ball, the king of Quintragitellingham says, Good evening, everyone. Prince Quintragitellingham, Quintragitelling, was wondering who he should marry. Isn't that right, son? In which Prince Quintragitelling says, Yes, father. Suddenly, 35 Cinderella arrived at the ball. Just in time. He's walking towards me, say Tasha, Hilda, Isabella, Ramona, Tanya, Irina, Fiona, Isabella, Verona, and Ella all together. But Prince Quintrajitalik is not walking towards any of them. He's walking towards 35 Arella. He then says, "May I have this dance?" In which 35 Arella says, "I would be delighted." And so 35 Arella and Prince Quintrajitalik dance happily together. But later, 35 Arella checks her clock, and it's almost midnight! So she scurried out of the ball, and she was running so fast that she lost one of her glass slippers. Hers. Prince Quintrajitalik was so really worried that he might never see 35 Arella again. The king of Quintrajitalik comforts him by saying, There now, son. I think we'll be able to find my dear daughter-in-law, 35 Arella." And so, the king of Quintrajitalik and Prince Quintrajitalik began their journey all around the neighborhood to find 35 Arella and brought the glass slipper she lost with them. By the time they arrived, Prince Quintrajitalik knocked on the door on the house where 35 Arella and her 10 ugly, mean, wicked stepsisters live, but instead of 35 Arella, they find Tasha and Ella. Prince Quintrajitalik then said, "Ladies, my father, the king of Quintrajitalik, and I have a favor to ask. Can any of you try on this glass slipper?" Tasha is first, but her foot is too big. Hilda is next, but her foot is too small. "Nonsense! It fits," she said. The rest did the same, but none of their feet are the right size. Suddenly, the king of Quintrajitalik and the prince Quintrajitalik noticed 35 Arella singing, "Your Majesty and Prince Quintrajitalik, is that you guys?" she yelled excitedly. The king of Quintrajitalik says, "My dear daughter-in-law, we found you, and the glass slipper fits." And so, 35 Arella, the king of Quintrajitalik, and Prince Quintrajitalik live happily ever after. The end. Andrew Stewart's, I hope you enjoyed this story. Andrew does everything. And I've been debating on making the sequels a bit of tradition. So, maybe someday 35 Arella 2. 35 Wishes Come True. Something like that. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and share on Andrew Does Everything. Buy our merchandise at AndrewDoesEverything.com too. Take care. Bye. And now, Andrew Does Everything proudly presents 56 Cinderella. It is based on the story of Cinderella with a bit of a twist. Let's tell you the story, shall we? Once upon a time, there lived a young woman named 56 Cinderella. 56 Cinderella had 8 ugly, mean, wicked stepsisters named Fatima, Ivana, Fernanda, Tasha, Yadina, Sophia, Isabella, and Xavier. All 8 of them made 56 Cinderella do all the chores and watch her work. 56er wench! Sweep the floors, wash the dishes, do it all! Said Fatima, Ivana, Fernanda, Tasha, Yadina, Sophia, Isabella, and Xavier all together. One day, the king of Sex Queen Quintrajitalik messenger arises and says, Hear ye, the king of Sex Queen Quintrajitalik, his majesty, is going to throw a ball, and with lots of food. And after dinner at 10 o'clock, whoever has the most beautiful gown and crutch shall marry his son, Prince Sex Queen Quintrajitalik. Can I come? Asks 56 Cinderella. But she's not invited. Her ugly, mean, wicked stepsisters are. He's going to marry me, said Fatima. No way, Fatima, you're wrong. He's going to marry me, said Ivana. Both of you are wrong. He's going to marry me, said Verona. The rest say, all three of you are wrong. He's going to marry me. They even tear her 56erella's party dress. Later, at 8 o'clock at night, 56erella is distraught, sad, and upset, doing chores about not going to the ball and marrying Prince Sex Queen Quadrigen Toppling. Suddenly, 56erella's very godmother arrives and comforts her. There now, 56erella, my dear. I can help with a bit of magic. And so, she waves her magic wand to do all the chores for 56erella. But she's not done yet. She says, 56erella, go fetch me a pumpkin and some ice. Luckily, 56erella has 56 pumpkins and 112 mice. 56erella's fairy godmother waves her magic wand again. And to turn the 56 pumpkins into a handsome coach, the 112 mice into horses, and 56erella's fairy Rickles into gown and crown. 56erella says, I've never seen such a sex queen quadruple-tastic gown. Get it out of my glass slippers. Fairy godmother, how can I ever thank you enough? And climbs into the coach. 56erella's fairy godmother says, well, you can't. But have fun, 56erella. But I would warn you, return home before midnight, or the spell will be broken and everything will get back to the way it was before normal. And gives her a clock to tell her what time it is. It's 9 o'clock now. 56erella accepted the warning. Meanwhile, at the ball, the king of Sex Queen Quadrigen Tumlingham says, good evening, everyone. Prince Sex Queen Quadrigen Toppling was wondering who to marry. Isn't that right, son? In which Prince Sex Queen Quadrigen Toppling responds, yes, father, at 10 o'clock. 56erella arrives at the ball for the food first. Just in time! 56erella then sees Prince Sex Queen Quadrigen Toppling. Her mean, ugly, wicked stepsisters, Fatima to Xavier, say, he's walking towards me! All together. But Prince Sex Queen Quadrigen Toppling is not walking towards any of them. He's walking towards 56erella. After dinner, Prince Sex Queen Quadrigen Toppling then asks, may I have this dance? And so, 56erella responds, I would be delighted. 56erella and Prince Sex Queen Quadrigen Toppling dance happily together. But later, 56erella checks her clock. It's almost midnight! So, she scurried out of the ball, and she was running so fast that she lost both her glass slippers. Prince Sex Queen Quadrigen Toppling was really worried that he might never see 56erella again. The king of Sex Queen Quadrigen Topplingham comforts him by saying, there now, son. I think we'll be able to find 56erella. And so, the king of Sex Queen Quadrigen Topplingham and Prince Sex Queen Quadrigen Toppling traveled all around the neighborhood to find 56erella and brought the 2 glass slippers with them. By the time they arrived, they knocked on the door of the home where 56erella and her ugly, mean, wicked stepsisters lived. But instead of 56erella, they find her ugly, mean, wicked stepsisters named Fatima to Xavier. Prince Sex Queen Quadrigen Toppling then says, ladies, my father, the king of Sex Queen Quadrigen Topplingham, and I have a favor to ask. Can any of you try on these 2 glass slippers? Fatima is first. But her feet are too big. Ivana is next, but her feet are too small. Nonsense! They fit! She said. The rest did the same, but none of their feet are the right size. Suddenly, the king of sex, queen, quadrigger, tumbling, and the king of sex, queen, quadrigger, tumbling, prince, known as 56 Cinderella's sweet singing. Prince, sex, queen, quadrigger, tumbling, and your majesty, is that you guys? She hollered excitedly. The glass slippers fit! And 56 Cinderella, the king of sex, queen, quadrigger, tumbling, and prince, sex, queen, quadrigger, tumblingham, lived happily ever after. The end. And Andrew's Doers, I hope this was a fun story parody. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and share on Andrew Does Everything, and buy our merchandise at AndrewDoesEverything.com. And take care. Bye.